My dear viewers, finally, yes, finally the time has come. I now get around to work on my retro project I had planned the last 2 or 3 years now, but never found the time to do so actively. But today I can proudly present you my fairly strange, weird Windows 98 retro gaming PC. Today I'll take you all along on my journey, how I'm putting everything together, and we'll also talk about the obstacles I had to overcome. All in all, it was an experience for me filled with a lot of highlights, but sadly many lows as well. After the assembly, I will also showcase a couple of games from that era, from before the turn of the millennium, some of which I even played back then as a kid. I was inspired to pull this project off by 2 YouTube channels I actively follow. They sure lit a spark inside me. I'm talking of the German channel Retro Pioneer and LGR, or Lazy Game Reviews in English. And now let's actually get to it. The very first question I had to ask myself is, what should this PC be based on? By that I mean the choice of the platform. Should the system be based on Intel or AMD? And then, out of which era? To be honest, like the A in my plan A, initially I wanted to go with an Athlon that goes into the socket A, aka socket 462. There was, or rather still is, a problem though. Motherboards are harder to find nowadays. Well, I'm sure I could find a decent one somewhere. What bothers me a whole lot more, especially with my plan of combining an already pretty powerful graphics card with 2 legendary 3D accelerator cards, is the power delivery. A socket A or 462 based system, unlike a bit later into the early 2000s, and even today does not draw the majority of the power from the power supply's 12-volt rail, but 5-volt rail instead. And as we all know, modern power supplies focus on 12 volts and no longer on those 5 volts, meaning there are hardly any usable newer PCUs out there that offer a perfectly sufficient amount of amps on the 5-volt rail. So all those problems I wanted to avoid for today's project. And boy, am I happy I did. I've had enough of issues to deal with anyway. So I ended up going for the Intel Pentium 4 1.8 GHz CPU that goes into the socket 478. It's the model with 256 KB of level 2 cache and a 400 MHz frontside bus. For the motherboard, I'm once again going for my trusty ASUS P4S8XX, which I've already had in use for a similar project about 3 years ago. Even though Windows 98, or rather Windows 98 SE, in theory supports like 1 or 2 GB of RAM, it is known that anything above 512 MB can cause issues in some aspects. Since 512 MB are perfectly fine for my needs here, I'll stick to that capacity and went with some memory by ADATA rated at 400 MHz at CL3 timings. To keep the CPU nice and cool, I'm going for this generic Cooler Master CPU cooler designed for socket 478. As for my main graphics card, if you will, I'm going with the ATI Radeon 9600 Pro by the AIB Power Color. This is an AGP card with 128 MB of VRAM that launched back in 2003. And now to the part that makes this whole thing so strange and honestly quite silly. Not 1 but 2 of the so-called Creative 3D Blaster 3DFX Voodoo 2 3D accelerators. I will put them in SLI. These are PCI cards featuring 8 MB of video memory according to my knowledge. These cards came out in 1998. A bit later into the video, I'll explain why exactly I chose to go with this kind of silly combination of parts. Finally, I went with a Seagate 80GB IDE 7200 RPM hard drive and a modern Chieftronic PowerPlay 550W power supply because I simply don't want to reuse any old PSUs whatsoever. And now to the case. You know me, I'm not just going to put such a dinosaur system into a case that was usual for back then. Instead, I opted for a fancy modern one with addressable RGB lighting. The case goes by the name of Deepcool Metrex 73F. To add a little bit more detail and bling to all of it, I'll throw some additional lighting in there, ARGB strips. Before I now explain you why I chose to go with this chaos of a retro PC, first let's build. Since I did it all in front of the camera, I had to pay a bit less attention to some of the things, and I did a couple of things quite a bit sloppier than usual, and that says a lot since I'm a bit clumsy, I'd say. So cable management practically is close to non-existent here, just to warn some of you perfectionists out there. And now, enjoy the assembly. So as some of you surely have noticed, the components hardly match at all and partially even originate from different eras. This in fact is what got my flame burning and why I wanted to pull this off so badly. I kinda wanted to merge two eras and wanted the best of both worlds, basically. For one, I wanted at least DirectX 8 to work. In my case, I could even experience DX9 if I wanted to, but I also wanted to experience the legendary API named Glide by 3DFX in a couple of games. In fact, today is the first time I ever got in contact with it. I never had the pleasure to do so in my past. So to be exact, I will not really be using Windows 98, but rather Windows 98 SE for the operating system, which comes with quite a few improvements over the first edition, but things didn't go all according to plan. The first problem I had to deal with was that I was greeted by some major boot issues. The PC didn't even really boot up correctly and just froze eventually. Surprisingly, after lots of experimenting, I discovered the motherboard doesn't really go well with the memory I installed. Or one should say, reseating the modules did the trick for me. So I was one step closer to success. Still, the PC did not boot and froze again. So I had the suspicion these Voodoo 2 cards in the PCI slots, similar as with the RAM, could suffer from some sort of contact fault too. And my suspicion turned out right. After, I don't even know, 5 or 6 times of reseating the cards, I finally got to the point in which I could begin with the Windows 98 SE installation. It didn't take long until I had to realize I would have to deal with yet another issue. My USB keyboard and mouse weren't really detected. With a couple of workarounds, I did get this to work too. Luckily, USB support in Windows 98 is a question that comes up fairly frequently. With the help of unofficial patches, you can tweak the operating system quite nicely. The installation of drivers went surprisingly well. That is up until I got to the 3DFX cards. My wish was to get the most out of these Voodoo 2 cards by using patched, unofficial drivers. The driver installation went smoothly, but after restarting Windows, the whole operating system decided to freeze once it got to the desktop. Well, all attempts of recovery and repairing were in vain. I had to admit to myself and face it, I destroyed Windows 98 SE. So I had to start over with a fresh clean installation, carefully installed all drivers again with well-behaved restarts in between, and this time around I went with the official Voodoo 2 driver. But would you look at that? The same problem as I experienced before. So I had to start over once more. So I did everything the way I did it the first time around, even went with the same unofficial drivers, and voila, the system is up and running. It was at this moment that I realized how much I took the stability of modern operating systems for granted. You should appreciate the newer stuff too. However, I forcefully had to decide against going with DirectX 9 since it made my Voodoo 2 cards crash. That's what I sadly had to discover. With the DirectX version 8.1b, the system's running smoothly without any hiccups though. In some game titles, I unfortunately had to skip on 3DFX's Glide, since all I got on my LCD monitor was an error message regarding an unsupported refresh rate. To fix this issue, I could have gone with a CRT screen, but other than that, I lacked the knowledge to work around this issue. After all, I didn't actually grow up with PCs of this specific era. By that I mean the 3DFX Voodoo 2 experience. What has certainly helped a bit was adjusting or rather lowering the clock speed of these accelerator cards slightly, since the fast Voodoo driver automatically overclocks the cards a little. What I've also had problems with was the audio. After a whole lot of different settings and whatnot, as well as many BIOS visits troubleshooting, I had the feeling it had something to do with that front panel connection. Well, I admit, this certainly was entirely my fault. A modern case comes with a front panel HD audio connector, but back then, AC97 was the standard. So after I unplugged the front panel audio, I finally got the audio working. The system is now fully up and running, which is why I can now showcase a couple of games of the good old days. Unfortunately, one of my favorites from back in the day, Need for Speed 2 Special Edition, doesn't want to launch start up anymore. It was working fine a minute ago, but now for some reason it doesn't want to. What a bummer, but as they say, the show must go on. And now we've indeed come to the end of this fairly lengthy video of mine. I admit this was one really nerve-wracking project. Still, I'm happy I experienced these issues. I therefore gained a lot of new old knowledge through my own experience. With that being said, thanks to all of you that stayed till the end, and I hope you've enjoyed this trip into the past. It sure was a nice change from all the other stuff.